All right, so today we're here with Sadie. She's in the other room. She's calming down after we worked on some counter conditioning. And so she's not here right here with us, but that's okay. And this is her roadmap to success. So when I first got here, you can see in the greeting video that she was pretty reactive. And again, I want to point out some kind of signals that she's uncomfortable, having her body be very stiff. Her tail was really high and it was wagging really fast. Her tail is an indicator of how excitable she is at that moment. So if her tail is up really high, that means that she's more excitable. Again, a wagging tail does not mean friendly, please approach me. A wagging tail just means how much energy they have in that situation. And it usually means if there's other, like her body's being stiff, it usually means do not approach me. And so how fast she's wagging her tail and how high it is an indicator of her arousal level, which can either be happy or it could be fearful, aggressive, things like that. So what we're looking for from her to start to move to closer steps to having new people approach her is for her body to start relaxing. You want to see the muscles in her body kind of relax. You want to see her body be flexible, not rigid. Her tail to be at least about the same level as her back or lower, and definitely if her tail is wagging, light, slow wag. So something kind of like this, back and forth, not this like really fast like that. That's something that would indicate that she's really too anxious and too excitable at that moment. So I want to just direct you to the video above on how we use counter conditioning to help her start getting over her fear and some of her aggressive tendencies when people are approaching. The other rule that we wanted to make sure that I include is not to have her on the front porch when she's unsupervised, because she is being reinforced every time she's out there that if someone walks by or a dog walks by, she can bark, 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 and she thinks her bark is the thing that's causing the people to move away. So every time that happens, she's like, I am great at barking. I'm so good that I bark and I'm like, you get away, you get away. And then, yeah, that's right, you better go. And she thinks, I'm amazing. I do this every day, all day long. So while we're working on her getting comfortable with new people and in these kind of social settings, we want to make sure she's off the porch unless she's supervised. If you're there with her, you can use the counter conditioning method that we use above. Give her a treat while the person or the person and dog are approaching. As they go away, stop giving her treats, but give her treats for being calm and relaxed. So you can have her on the porch as long as you're able to work on helping her be in a calm state, so she starts to realize that she is not causing people to walk by. That will help her also learn how to have people approach her, because she will start disassociating barking with making people move away. All right, the next rule that we want to put in place is making sure that she eats last. Let the other two dogs eat first, they can eat at the same time, and have them finish their meals before she eats. You want to do this until you feel comfortable and she's behaviorally where you want her to be. Dogs learn through social interaction. If she's eating last, she's going to be looking for ways to understand why they have a privilege above her. And one of the things is the other two dogs are very happy-go-lucky, love people, and so over time you can also use that kind of happy energy from the other dogs to teach her how to approach people and how to have calmer energy and enjoy being around other people. The next thing is make sure to use petting with a purpose. Ask her to sit before you pet her. Ask her to sit before she's allowed up on furniture or on the bed. And then make sure not to pet her if she's being anxious, fearful, nervous, because that's reinforcing her to be fearful, anxious, and nervous in that context. So if she starts barking at somebody or starts getting nervous in a new situation, don't pet her, but try to redirect her. Ask her to sit, ask her to lay down, get her mind into something that she knows how to do so she has more control. And the last rule is to make sure that she starts learning how to sit at the bottom of the stairs. You can be at the top of the stairs, give her a release word so she can come up. The person who goes up the stairs first is the leader, and we want to make sure that you're in the leadership position as her guardian, and any other person would be, including your brother. This helps her feel like a relinquishment of control. She now can trust that you're going to take over the responsibilities of the house, who's allowed in the house, who she can trust, because you're in the leadership position, and she can look to you for direction and trust that you are going to take care of her. Remember that you want to have the mindset that you're her guardian and you're here to protect and make sure that she's going to be okay, so she can look to you for direction and she doesn't feel like she has to be responsible for barking and telling other people to go away. When you're using the counter conditioning method, just next steps will be first start having your brother being able to stand up. You might have to have her be as far away from him as possible. So this would be him standing up and being in a still position. You'll use counter conditioning by the guardian giving her treats, because it'll be too far for him to throw them, and lifting his arm up might look intimidating to her initially. So we want to make sure that we keep this as calm as possible. Every time he approaches her, until you're months in and she's calmly, happily asking for attention and getting petted, make sure he's giving her treats every time he approaches. We want her association to be, she sees your brother or a stranger, yay, I'm gonna get treats, and maybe give a treat that will be such high value that she never gets otherwise. She only gets this really amazing, yummy treat when your brother's around or a new person is around. The next steps would be having him being able to walk around the room at a pretty far distance while you give her treats. So he can be standing and moving slowly away from her, and then eventually kind of getting closer to her, but little by little. And as he gets about halfway across the room, he can start tossing treats. I'd recommend kind of tossing them with your arms sideways like this, so it's not a threatening coming towards her, just kind of tossing them lightly over towards her. Remember to keep your body sideways for quite some time, especially when he's first standing up and learning to building that trust to have her approach, or having him approach her. And practice moving away from her when she's not barking, and then practice coming towards her and then going away. Always giving her treats for helping her. Over time, you'll want to get her to the point where she'd be laying in the living room with you, sitting by your feet while he's sitting on the opposite end of the couch at a good distance, but she's comfortable with him walking around the house and not getting up and being reactive. These are signs that if you can start moving around together and she's on a leash and she's not being reactive, that you can get to the point of taking the leash off. Again, I can't emphasize enough, let Sadie, the dog, determine when she's ready to start being petted. We don't want to hand feed her treats yet. Still at this point, keep dropping treats on the ground for her, so she can tell you when she's comfortable and she's built up enough trust to have that kind of actual body contact. He can let her out without having to make that body contact. He can drop treats on the floor and let her get them to reward her for coming inside, for sitting, for going downstairs and sleeping in her kennel. So make sure that she directs that so you don't undermine all the hard work you did by kind of breaking that trust. So let her go from there. All right, now remember, everything you do trains your dog, only sometimes you mean it.